Every morning you wake up and there's a brief window where you're operating in an unconscious manner, and that's where you look at your phone, you check the notifications, you please the algorithm, and then because you're not acting in control, life controls you and you don't get towards your goals. Our mothers were right, it's always been the fucking phone. If you're watching this video and you're ambitious, you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to get ahead in life, then you're gonna learn the exact steps that I went through in order to become 10x more productive without having to sacrifice me being online and actually progressing with my business and progressing with my personal brand. And this is just an honest, open conversation with you on what has worked for me, what hasn't, so you can learn something and actually implement this into your life to be more productive and be more focused and have more clarity with what you should be doing day to day. I'm gonna be looking on my computer here because I've got some notes, but I just want to walk you through what I've been struggling with and how you guys can probably learn how to overcome the same thing. And I'm recording this video from a place of subtle burnout. And most of you can kind of, align with me with this, where you're not burnt out from doing too much work, but your brain is just fried. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing is researching, looking at content ideas, stuff like that, and it's lots of task switching, right? Looking for my phone, looking at my clients, responding to texts, and sometimes that can really overload your brain and not allow you to focus on one task at a time, and also keep you never being fully present. Because one thing that we have to understand as humans is our brain is still the same brain that we had thousands of years ago, and we are kind of adjusting to this modern era where we have so much information being flooded towards us at any given time. And sometimes we have to make the conscious decision of not consuming certain information to have the clarity and freedom in our minds to actually focus on a task at hand and also be creative in certain parts of the day. Last Saturday, I barely touched my phone. I woke up in the morning, I just kind of had this whole day to myself where I didn't really touch it. And of course I had clients trying to ask me for things, but I think it's super important to just kind of sit back, relax, and focus and read and go for walks without having any stimulation, so you can have that freedom to kind of focus back on the task at hand. And this is a trap for most entrepreneurs and most ambitious people, because we love to work. We love to, embody our vision. We love to focus on our goals. And sometimes that obsession with that goal can actually make you fall back because you're not present, you're not creative and focusing on one task at hand, because you're always trying to juggle many things at once. And the truth is, the phone isn't the enemy, it's the way that we use it. If you're someone that wants to create, you use your phone as a tool. But we have to distinguish the difference between conscious usage and unconscious usage. Unconscious usage is when you're eating breakfast and you just whip out your phone out of nowhere, and then you start scrolling or you start, texting or whatever. And sure, you might be productive, but you weren't doing that from a conscious standpoint. You weren't like, okay, let me catch up on some to-dos and do it. You just did it from a reflex because your brain was wanting something to feed itself. It wanted some dopamine. And the conscious usage would be like, look, I've got a 2-hour block in the morning where I'm going to do some responding to texts, I'm going to do some work, and then I'm going to take a break. So these are the 3 filters that I'm having before I'm actually using my phone. And I'm just going to take a glance over here. So why am I picking this up right now, right? Have a prompt in your brain that you constantly bring up when you use your phone, so you actually know what you're using it for. An example is for example, when I wake up, I pray, I'm Christian, and that's just an automatic kind of response. So your automatic response when picking up your phone is, okay, what am I using this for right now? Am I consuming or creating is another one. Or does my phone serve me or distract me? You can decide what kind of prompt you want to have, but I'm trying to train myself every single time I pick it up. I just kind of say this in my head, okay, what am I consciously using this for right now, and what am I taking action on? Another thing is designing your phone for focus. So what I personally have is I've got a setting on my phone where every single time I touch the on button 3 times, I put it into grayscale mode. And this can really help you not get so hyperstimulated when you're on your phone, even if you're doing stuff like looking at Instagram for ideas or whatever. If you're in grayscale, it's going to be a bit more boring. It's not going to stimulate your brain as much, which actually reduces the dopamine or the endorphins. So your brain will still be kind of focused throughout the day and not so kind of have a massive spike. Another thing is folders only. I don't have apps just on my phone because they can easily be opened. I have different steps, right? I have folders where everything is sorted in, so I have to click first on the folder, then to the app, so I have kind of steps that I have to go through. And then when I go on a specific app, I always have to unlock it with my face. So there's these small micro steps that cause me to have moments of reflection. Okay, what am I using this for? So you can't just in a 1 second go on Instagram. Delete every app that you don't need, right? If you're not using an app in the past week, just delete it. Like, honestly, like if you have to get it again, just download it again. But the reason is just to keep your phone like tidy, clean, not too much information, not too many apps. Another one is screen time goals. Under 2 hours a day is the goal. And 90% of that should be dedicated to work. Of course, if you're going to the gym, you're listening to music, that can be kind of added on. But the goal is to get under 2 hours a day of phone screen time. And for me, that's mostly going to be responding to texts. And it's going to be uploading on Instagram because that's what I'm using to build my business. And then the stretch goal, I call it. So this is the goal if I really want to push things to the limit, is 1 hour a day. And that's like an ambitious target. And every single app that I can have on my computer, I move it to there. So if I have WhatsApp on my computer, I don't have to use my phone, etc. Because I don't have a limit of how much I can do on my computer, because I personally think there's a massive difference with how your brain reacts to your big computer screen and its work versus a tiny phone. I don't know how to explain it. You guys can probably kind of relate to me, but your phone just kind of, it's got a lot more going on. You have to like really squint your eyes to see certain details. And most of the time you're not like working on your phone. You're just like messing around. And this is the intentional design that I'm putting in my life in order to get to my goals. And here's just like a little healthy reminder. Your brain is the most valuable asset that you have. It's the most hypersensitive thing. It's the most hypersensitive organ. And being a visionary means that everything runs through your mind first. Every single thing that you look at will be reflected in your mentality and your mind. This is kind of my game plan of what I'm doing every single morning to kind of stay on track. So I wake up, I read my Bible, I do 20 minutes of meditation, and I have not my phone. I'm not touching my phone at all. And I go for a coffee and I take a walk. That's kind of my morning ritual. I know Alex Hormozi says, get right to work, but that routine doesn't work for everyone. And also I don't want to be a maniac like him. And then I hit my first deep work block for 2 hours. Now 2 hours is where I'm going to put a timer on. And ideally, I'm not even touching my phone at this point. Okay, sure, if you check it for 1 second, you put it away, whatever, that's fine. But I'm not like engaging on it long term. Then after that 2 hour work block, I take a short break, 10-15 minutes. And then I do a second deep work block. And that is when I am doing my 4 hours of deep work per day. That's done. After that, I have my breakfast. And then after those 4 hours of deep work, I have my busy work where I can use my phone, I can use different things, and I'm not as worried if my focus is a bit fragmented because I've got the most important things done in the first 4 hours of the day. This is the one thing I've noticed, guys, is a timer is everything. If you put a timer on something, automatically you start acting with urgency. So even though you say, oh, I'm going to do 2 hours, put on the timer because it really makes you act in a different way. It makes you value that time way more. I'll give you a quick example. Back in high school, I watched the movie Time. It's with Justin Timberlake, and we were watching actually in science class. I think our teacher at the time just wanted to watch the movie and just decided to watch it with the class. And there's actually like a time on your wrist. It's like kind of digitally, it's a fiction movie. And it's basically the time that you have to live. And you can look on your wrist, and it's basically the currency that they have in this movie. So when you buy a coffee, you pay with time. If you buy a pizza, whatever, you always pay with time. And when you look on your wrist, you literally see how many seconds, how many minutes you have to live. And I almost can guarantee you, if you had the exact time on your wrist that you had to live, which might sound dark, you would act with more urgency. You would do the things that you always wanted to do. If you see, oh, you've got, 50 years, 20 hours, and 13 minutes left, you would act in way more urgency, and when you see the countdown, you would act with way more urgency in your life, and that's why timers are important. This is one thing that's kind of relating to my brand, is my consulting program. I work with coaches and people that want to build their personal brand. We're all about designing our dream reality. And if you think about your dream reality right now, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be spend 4 hours a day scrolling on your phone, 5 hours a day, 8 hours a day scrolling on your phone. If that's your dream reality, then you're probably not on the right YouTube channel. But 9 times out of 10, that's not in your dream reality. That's not in your dream day. So we need to be professionals and start now designing our dream day. If your dream day is waking up, having a coffee, getting some sunshine, going for a run, whatever, do that now. The phone is something that can easily, with the power of AI, with the power of building leverage online, you don't need to use your phone that much. You use your phone to create content, upload, and then get off of it. Post a story, get off of it. And then your brain has so much more creative power to feed your audience with more amazing knowledge. I hope this video helped. It was a bit of a reflection for me, and I hope this gave you some insight on how you can design your life in the best possible way in an undistracted manner. I've got a free school group that shows you how to scale your coaching business to 20K a month. Feel free to join, it's completely free. And other than that, guys, I will see you in the next video. Peace.